Hi, this is Renee from ZSK in Germany.
And I'm Andrea Bomarito with ZSK Machines in the US. And today we are going to show you how to set up the machine for the ZSK pocket frames. With the ZSK pocket frames, we have a small, medium, and a large frame. These frames are really nice for getting into small areas such as pockets. Now, in order to prepare the machine for the pocket frame, we do need to change over the machine from tubular to caps. And we're basically just using the cap driver. In order to do this, we will need a 3mm Allen wrench as well as a Phillips screwdriver. And it is nice to have a nice long one since we will have to take off the cap plate assembly. And of course, we need the cap driver to use for the pocket frames.
So, since we are using our pocket frames, here is one example. Of course, we have to change something on the machine. In this case, the tubular arm we have to get off. And in this case, we have to loosen the screws which are behind. And as Andreas told us already, we need an Allen key, 3mm in this case. So, and I will loosen now the screws, one on the right side as well as one on the left side. So here we are. And then we can get it off. By the way, we do have also at ZSK a quick change system, right, Andrea?
Yeah, and it's really nice with the quick change system. It allows us to easily pull off the arms or put them back on just with a lever system rather than having to either loosen or completely take off these screws here. So that is kind of a benefit on the efficiency and the quick changeover.
Right. This is available for the sprint machine basically. For the racers we have to take off then the whole arms. They are much more longer depending how many heads you have, as you can imagine, right? So this is a little bit different. But anyway, also not a big deal. Just open or loose actually the screws, get off the stuff and put the other one on it.
So after we have taken off the tubular arms, we now need to install the cap driver. And here we have the cap driver. Renee, would you show us?
Yes, of course. It will be an honor, Andrea, to put it on the machine. This is our cap driver, as you can see. The cap driver does have 4 screws. Perhaps you have seen already our previous videos where we actually explained how to put on a cap, as well as the driver too. Anyway, what you have to take care is we have here 2 screws in the backside, which are wing screws, and 2 on the top. And what else is quite important, make sure that this driver is in the middle. Actually, you can move it. I show you then what does it mean like this, right? Just make sure it is in the middle. And if it is like this, we bring it now in. Make sure you will not bend one of our pressure foods, so you have to be a little bit careful to get it in. So here we are. Then I bring it to the back, make sure that every screw fits well and tighten them. Which one you tight doesn't matter. The bottom one first or the top one, this really doesn't matter. Make just sure they are tightened enough, strongly, and that's it.
Now after the cap driver is on, the next step that we have to take is to remove the cap plate assembly, the support assembly. And it's important that we do remove this assembly because our pocket will not fit properly onto that arm. So we will take our Phillips screwdriver, and it is nice to have a longer one because we do have to go pretty far deep in here as we have 4 screws to remove. So we have 2 on the left and 2 on the right. I'll take my screwdriver and I can actually feed it through this guide right here, or this track, and simply remove it. Now I'm just going to loosen it, and it doesn't matter where we start and where we end, but it's important that we don't lose these screws. So after I've loosened all 4 screws, I'll go ahead and pull this out. And again, remember that it is important that you put the screws in a safe place. And now we're ready to attach the pocket frame. So now that we've removed the cap support plate assembly, we can now attach the pocket frame.
Right, and the pocket frame does have basically here two cutouts. You can see it here on the right and on the left side. And of course also a cutout here, the big one. This is then actually for the nose, which we have here on the driver. And all what you have to do is just to get it in like that. You bring it back like this, but make sure before you do this that the attachment here, or actually the driver, is in the right position. Means you have to check in the back if the nose, I call it just simply nose, is really in the center. It makes it much more easier to bring it on. So what we do now, we just bring it on like this, make sure that it is in the middle and clip it in the back side until you hear 2 clicks more or less, like that. And then it's fixed, as you can see. It's very easy.
So we do have to make sure that this is affixed to the cap driver before we actually do the hooping.
Right.
We now have the pocket frame on the cap driver, and it's important that when we hoop, we move the cap driver forward, because we do have a clamp with a door, and that door needs to clear the needles as well as the presser feet. So on the T8 controller, we do have the pantograph movement. Renee will go ahead and move that forward for us. And you do want to make sure that you're not moving too far forward either. So after we've moved it forward, we need to unclamp the door. We'll just simply unclamp it. And after the door's open, we'll go ahead and take our piece of backing, place it on top of the window here. After it's in that window, we can now take our shirt with the pocket or whatever garment that we are doing and place it inside that area. So now we'll take our shirt, and we want to embroider the pocket, so we'll go ahead and open the pocket up. Make sure that you are sliding that pocket onto that frame or onto that window, and make sure that you get inside the pocket. So after that is inside, we can now take the door, place it and bring it over on top of the pocket, and then we'll go ahead and clamp it to reinforce it.
And we hooped now our shirt, actually the pocket. The next thing what we have to do is to bring back the frame with our control panel basically. So be careful what you do, that you don't go for too far, and also make sure that the arm is definitely inside the pocket. You can feel it, or even you can see it if it is right. If I bring this up, you can see then definitely that the pocket is well inside the arm of the tubular arm. And so I bring it a little bit further back, and if this is done, the next step would be the tracing. So we have to make sure that it is in the center, of course, which we do also quickly here, bringing down the needle and let it trace. I'm pretty sure I'm quite good. Maybe a little bit deeper, and go for it. So after the tracing is done, also make sure that you have, of course, the right colors, and then you can start the embroidery.
So with tracing, it is really important to make sure that you don't hit the frame, because that could also damage the machine.
Right, since we do not have any sensor for these small pocket frames, you have, as Andrea said, make sure that it will not hit, right? It causes a big problem. So we can go a little bit faster now, and it's back in the center. We get out of our tracing, and now we can start our embroidery.
After the embroidery is finished, we can then unhoop the garment, and we want to do the same thing that we did before. We will move the pantograph out, and after it's out, we make sure that the door will clear the needles, and just go ahead and unclamp that clamp, open the door, and remove the garment. So after our embroidery, you can see that we have a very unique placement inside the pocket without having to go through the entire shirt. So Renee, thank you very much for taking the time and helping us with the pocket frame.
Thank you, Andrea. And I hope we will see you soon for the next video. See ya.